I think you and I are on the same page when it came to the Spurs versus Thunder. I thought that the Thunder were going to go to a Game 7 series. I think that was these two teams were very equal. They obviously played very hard in the regular season. The Spurs were a very good team in the regular season. They beat the Thunder 4 times out of the 5 times that they played. So we all had like an idea that this was possible. The Spurs could do it. But I think for many of us, we just thought that ultimately it would be the experience, the championship grit, and then obviously they got the back-to-back MVP on their roster. We thought that that would be enough, that they would be playing in OKC. They would have the home court advantage. They would have the crowd. They would have the experience. And that was going to be the thing that put them over. But basically, Chill, from wire to wire,
sure,
the San Antonio Spurs were in control of that game. Chill, what are some of your thoughts on what you saw in that game?
Well, I'll start the conversation, Swiper, by saying that if I got the league MVP and I got the back-to-back league MVP and I got the defending NBA champion, I'm going to go with him on his home floor in Game 7. I'm going to do that. However, I was doing some digging, and you guys can fact check me on this. I think the Game 7 home floor team is under 500 over like the last 10 years. I think they're 14-16 over the last.
I would not be surprised.
I think they're 2 games under 500 over the last 10 years, something like that. With that being said, I felt like throughout the course of this series that the league MVP, I felt like the best player in the world, in my estimation, I thought that he was going to show up and he was going to get them a game. And when I mean get them a game, this game in particular, he was going to get them. Game 7 or this. If there's any time for me as a player to show up and prove that I am the best in the world and we are the best in the world, then this is the game to do it. And I felt like Mitch Johnson made it crystal clear that you're not going to beat us. Somebody else has to do it. If you're going to beat us, you're going to have to do it by getting 60. You're going to have to do it by getting 70. And you're going to have to do it by getting swarmed. You're going to have to do it by, in terms of gaps, those windows that are open, they're open this much. And you're going to have to get through those windows. And when those windows close, you can't force your way through them. You're not going to be able to get the shots that you're looking for. You're not going to be able to get to the spots that you're looking for. And if you get to those spots, somebody's going to be there. Somebody's going to be all over you. We're going to be as physical as possible. We're going to make you get the ball out of your hands. And we're putting all the pressure on your other guys, who, by the way, had been playing better. I think the Oklahoma City Thunder rotation players had played better than the Spurs rotation guys. If I'm being honest, I think that they played better, and I felt like Mitch Johnson made it clear that he wanted to see those guys do it in this atmosphere more than the best player, and it showed, because what guys like Alex Caruso, Cason Wallace, what they were able to do throughout the course of the series, they weren't able to do that in Game 7. And what can I say that hasn't already been said about Chet? And I'm not ready to give up on him yet. I don't think that Chet offensively was nearly as aggressive as he's been in the past. Like, Chet has not sucked in the playoffs, if I'm being honest. I don't think he's sucked in the playoffs. He's been a little up and down. He's had some.
I think we said he might have been the best player the first two series.
I thought that he was their best player in the last series against the Lakers. I thought he was awesome in that series. I didn't think that he was bad in that series. I say that to say I'm not just jumping the gun. Sometimes guys are just better. And I think that we have to concede that, unfortunately. It's almost like when you hear that a guy is better, it's awful. It's now awful, and now we got to move off of this guy. No, we don't. I mean, Chet's 24 years old. Is there no improvement for Chet ever? Is that what I'm understanding? Like,
we
Chet
don't got to move off of him, too.
But he definitely. I think he definitely needs to get better. And I'm not going to argue that point. But the thing that I saw that I felt like was the most important thing, and Swipe and I actually had a conversation about that. One, the fact that De'Aaron Fox was been able to make shots, because I think that him putting pressure on the Oklahoma City defense slowed down their transition game. Number two, Fox being able to take care of the basketball. Oklahoma City has predicated their offense on creating that from defense. And the fact that Foxy was able to take care of the basketball and they were able to get back in transition and slow Oklahoma City down, I think they took away an integral part of Oklahoma City's offense. I thought that was huge.
Yo, this PC Ron here.
This is Chilltown Hoops.
Yo, this is Drench Man, not the French man.
Mars here.
This is Swiper.
Yo, this is Big Ox.
I want to start by showing love to everybody that rocks with PC.
We appreciate y'all, whether you catch every episode.
Catch the clips, jump in the chat, or just support from a distance.
We see all of it.
We put a lot into this, a lot of time, a lot of energy.
And a lot of love. And we do it because we really care about giving y'all dope content and building the best sports community out there.
But if we being real, the way we can keep growing this thing and make more content, have better productions, more live events, more PC weekends, more meetups, all of that stuff.
It's through memberships.
The support really helps us keep this thing moving.
So if PC has ever been a part of your day,
Helped you get through work,
Made you laugh.
Made you mad?
Or just gave you somewhere to tap in with people who really love the game.
go check out the memberships tiers and see which one works best for you.
We're here every day doing this.
And with y'all behind us,
We can keep taking this to another level.
tap into the membership.
And let's keep building this thing, baby. PC to the top with you. Let's do it.
But we just like sure you went over a lot there. Before we get into all that, I do want to touch back on the Chet thing though. Like having him being the best player in the Lakers series, that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Even him having a good Sun series, that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Talking about when you look at the matchups. Now, when it comes to the Spurs series, Che, you can't just put your head under the cover. You know what I mean? Like, I hate when you ever like watch those shows when there's like an intruder in the house and get scared and put a cover over. Like, okay, so you're just gonna lay there, you know?
You could be afraid. You ain't got to run, though. You could be scared.
Right.
That doesn't mean you got to run. No.
I mean, Chet just I think Chet folded in that series, and it's okay to get outplayed. It's okay for a superior player to outplay you. We've seen that before. We've seen great players get outplayed by other great players. I've seen what Dirk did to KG in the playoffs. You know what I mean? Like we've seen that before. But Chet can't just fold. You know what I mean? Like you can't shoot two shots. You know what I mean, you can't let Wemby just have everything. You know what I mean? That's the only thing. Like I'm fine with a player getting outplayed. That's basketball and that's gonna happen. But you have to show up though.
Ox, where do you think that came from? Do you think that was him just not being mentally tough enough, or Wemby just took him out of his game? And that would be the byproduct of it. Him just being not mentally tough enough.
I don't know. I'm not gonna try to get in his head. You know, I have no idea what happened. I do think sometimes too you can maybe psych yourself out though. You know what I'm saying? You can get too amped up for something, or you can let you can let your feelings for another player like just overwhelm you or something. You know, or he's just simply was just completely outplayed. I don't know if it's a mental thing or if it's just a basketball issue.
Yeah.
I don't know, Chill, but I know that if you want, especially without J-Dub, because before the series started, I was thinking it has to be Spurs in 6 or OKC in 7, right? But once we realized that J-Dub wasn't coming back, I figured, okay, well, the Spurs got it. You know, I think the Spurs really needed J-Dub, and if he's not there, Chet got to ball out. So that didn't happen.
I just think that this group that Oklahoma City has, I mean, they were outplayed. I think they were outclassed. I think that this Spurs team, they made it the most difficult on SGA more than any of those guys. Because like we'll look at Wemby and we'll say that Wemby was just dominant. Mars, I gave you a stat a couple of days ago that you didn't know about, that SGA averaged 29 a game in wins and he averaged 19 a game in losses. Wemby averaged 31 a game in wins. He averaged 22 a game in losses. I mean, that's not really. I mean, that is not.
Did
that
you see the
big
difference, Chill, that they brought up on
a deal.
First things first about when Wemby makes 3 or more threes, he's averaging over 30 points a game, and then when he makes less, it's around 23.
I did not see that. No, I did not.
But then you saw that first quarter, Chill. Like
I did.
He came out one to, I think, prove a point that number one, I'm gonna take these jumpers, but then number two, I'm in a flow state right now, and I'm gonna take over the game. And I think Mark, how many threes did he make? Was it 4? Was it 4 in this game? Might have been 4 or 3. Might have been 3 of 7 if I can't remember. Chill. I guess for you, does that like when you
3
see
of 5.
3 of It's 3 or 5 shots, 60%, right?
Yeah, that's
So when you see a player of that stature, especially as big as he is, like get into that kind of a flow early in the game, do you think that kind of changes how the rest of the team feels? Like, did that settle them down for the rest of a game 7?
Yes, I do think that it did that. I think that him taking the lead and being the most assertive of all the guys, not just from a jump shot standpoint, but from a glass standpoint. I mean, he was great finishing around the rim. He was running the floor. I mean, I thought he got on the glass pretty well. I think that him asserting himself and asserting his dominance, not necessarily just his presence, but asserting his dominance as a player, I think that really pushed Oklahoma City over the top. San Antonio. I think that pushed them over the top. I think that they came out with a sense of urgency that Oklahoma City didn't. I think that Oklahoma City kind of depended on the crowd to get behind them. I think that they depended on the energy from being at home, not realizing that San Antonio was going to play with that sense of urgency that, this is an elimination game for us too. Just because we're young, that doesn't mean that we don't recognize that if we lose, we're out. And I think that Wemby started that, and I think that they followed him. And in addition to following, and not addition, with them following him, Oklahoma City did not follow SGA because San Antonio blitzed them. They got the basketball out of his hand. Like, they were making shots early, but that just didn't continue throughout the course of the game. And I thought that San Antonio, they did a great job in taking SGA out of the game. Like, you're not going to beat us. Of all the guys out here that are going to beat us, you are not going to beat us. It's got to be somebody else.
Chill. Let me do a little quiz real quick. Who do y'all think in the first quarter, who were the 3 leading scorers for the Spurs in the first quarter?
The 3 leading scorers for the Spurs in the first quarter.
Champagny.
One of them.
Casey Wallace.
Spurs, for the Spurs.
Oh, for the Spurs. I'm sorry. I apologize. For the Spurs, Champagny, Devin Vassell.
Yep.
Stephon Castle.
Yep, Stephon Castle. Now, Ox, you remember? If you remember that first quarter, Devin Vassell came out looking like a madman, like man with the hair on fire. I think him and Julian in particular, and I can't wait to get to Julian because y'all remember the 76ers waived him. They just got rid of Julian. They didn't even think he was going to be a valuable contributor to the team. They got rid of him for Max McClung, and then he had 20 points in this game. I truly believe, man, if you start the first quarter well in a game like this on the road, Ox, and you're able to kind of build it into your head that this environment isn't too much for us.
Yeah.
This game 7, everything around is not too much for us. Once they got settled, I think in the first quarter, I think that's what ended up changing the game for them. And they maintained that momentum the rest of the game.
I think it's interesting.
Shooter, though,
Yeah, he is.
That's what he does.
But I also think it's interesting how a game can change things. Because, I mean, throughout the course of the series, we weren't that high on Julian Champagny. He wasn't really shooting the basketball particularly well. It was this, and it was this, then it was this, then it was this. And then this game 7, he comes out and he's knocking down open shots, which is catapulting their defense because it catapulted him. He was much smarter on defense. So I think it's interesting how a game can change the dynamic of a player because Julian Champagny was not great in the series, but he was awesome in that game 7.
I think we were actually being really optimistic with Champagny. I think we was giving Champagny a lot of grace. And on top of that, we were also highlighting the fact that he was playing very well on the defensive end, although his 3-ball wasn't falling. And I also remember what Ron was saying that he expects it to drop. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think Champagny is a guy that's going to go cold. He actually surprised me by contributing in other spots on the floor. Like, he was playing really good defense in those first 3 or 4 games. I was actually surprised. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
So I think we were. I don't, at least us up here, I don't think we were being too hard on Julian. I think we were pretty optimistic about what could happen. And I mean, to your point, Swiper, sometimes when you're a certain type of player, you just don't fit. You know what I mean? You just don't fit with certain places, or you're just not going to get the opportunity. And you need to go to a place where you can prove yourself, a place where somebody can see your worth. And I just think that the Spurs was a good place for him to land. Like, everything that was going on in Philly, I think Philly was really hung up on like star power. You know what I mean? I think that was a Philly thing where they just looking at the top guys.
Sure.
And so it just wasn't going to work for him there. And it's cool. It's really cool to see that. Like, I love those type of stories. Guys that can't make it somewhere and then they go and get an opportunity, and they're intricate in winning winning a final. Well, it's the Western Conference Finals, but you know what I mean, a big series though. Like, I think that's really dope.
I thought it was dope too, Ox, that they maximized him in San Antonio, his strength. So if I'm not mistaken, watching him, he is more of a D and 3 guy. Like, that's what he does. He cracks the long ball and he'll play defense, and he's a solid defender. And yes, there's a variance when it comes to the long ball. He'll go 0 for 5. He'll go 1 for 7. Yes, I get that part. But there's also nights when he goes 5 for 8. There's also nights when he goes, 6 for 11. And he gives you great defense. And I think that that's what was going on throughout the course of this series. But the problem is in the playoffs is that you got a short period of time to get it together. Like, we don't have 2 or 3 games where we can absorb you 0 for 5, 1 for 6, 2 for 7. Like, we don't have that kind of time. We got that kind of time in January because we got some time before the playoffs start. But I think that Mitch Johnson did a great job in maximizing who Champagne was. We're talking about Game 7, one of the most important games of your career. You are at home, which is SGA at home. All the pressure is on him, being the league MVP in back-to-back seasons. In addition to being the league MVP in back-to-back seasons, you have a team that has 2 guys in Cornette and Harrison Barnes who are rotation guys who are the only championship level players on the group, right? The only ones. Then you have the defending NBA champions who had already been there. Why am I ridiculous to think that if we're home, that my back-to-back league MVP and arguably the best player in the world, why am I ridiculous to think that he can't get it done? Do I know that Mitch Johnson is going to swarm him and get the ball out of his hands? Do I know that we're going to have to rely more on Cason Wallace and we're going to have to rely more on Alex Caruso, who didn't do anything, by the way, in terms of making shots? I thought that he was good defensively, but he didn't do much in terms of making shots.
No,
am I ridiculous to think?
He had a bad game.
Yeah, am I ridiculous to think that SGA could get it done, especially considering how are we talking about him, what kind of player he's been? Am I ridiculous to think that? I don't think I am at all.
Sure.
I don't think so.
I think the Spurs had a great team win. We said that in the post game. The totality of the Spurs just showed up. I think whoever the GM was who put this team together, Game 7 was a great.
Brian Wright, I think his name is.
Shout out to Brian Wright.
Mm-hmm.
Game 7 was probably the perfect version of what he saw as far as his vision, right? Yep. Most of the Spurs win in the series, Chill, were Wemby based, Wemby centered. Wemby had to play this phenomenal basketball game for the San Antonio Spurs to win, but that wasn't the case in Game 7, right? He played well, but it wasn't like some 40-20 game that we've been seeing out of him in some of these wins. But from De'Aaron Fox to Stephon Castle to Champagnie to Dylan Harper, Keldon Johnson hit some big threes in that game as well. Like, the entirety of the roster and the team showed up huge in that Game 7, and that almost dissuaded me out from picking against them in the finals because it was such a great team collective effort. However, I'm still going with the Knicks, but we're going to stay on this topic. But it was a great team win for San Antonio, no doubt.
It's the panel. Religion get built on cam. Where the chat throw smoke and the host go ham. You ain't never seen hoop talk hit the raw. Every take got weight, every night we drop. This that barbershop. Courtside, worldwide tone. Welcome to the only show that really feel like numbers jumping like the score.